I am Miriam, co-founder and COO of Keto Chow.
I'm Chris, also co-founder, president, and the technical guy behind Keto Chow. And I'm just checking to make sure that it's actually going to the right place. It is.
And it's the
if
right
you're
date?
brand new to Keto Chow, it's a nutritionally complete meal designed to make doing keto easy. We also have some electrolyte supplements that are amazing for everyday use and for keeping the dreaded keto flu away.
Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the little bell icon for updates on all our Keto Chow happenings. These live streams help us be accountable and stay on track. So thanks for joining us on our keto journey.
Indeed, and Purple Love and Nana is apparently retired now.
Yay! Congratulations!
Not just tired, retired.
Woo, woo, woo.
Looks like we got Debbie, Carrie, Gina says good morning, everyone.
Gina.
Carol's here, so is Dennis.
Dennis.
Mike says good morning,
Hi, Carol.
Keto Kids.
Hi, Mike.
Judy says hello, and Rickwin says hi, folks. I'm
Ew.
drinking natural strawberry Keto Chow.
I can smell it.
You probably can. Look, it's the old logo.
Yeah, so old. Blender bottles last forever.
They do indeed.
My hair is still wet. It's not quite ready for the day, so sorry about that.
Debbie says good morning. So glad to be here.
morning.
Lynette says good morning. Jen is here.
Hi, Jen. How are
Apparently,
you?
Jen was working the Keto Chow booth at the Tennessee
Yeah, she was.
conference.
She was killing it.
While
Jen.
Steve and Holly were away, Jen was doing whatever she wanted. Let's see. Kendra says hello. Nancy says hi, lovely people. And Visual Keto is ear hustling from the Vision
Hey,
Center.
How are you?
We're getting a couple of dropped frames here and there.
whoops.
It's coming in and out.
I
So,
need to get my glasses adjusted.
oh, you do?
Speaking of vision.
Okay.
Yes, my sunglasses are like super wide and they keep falling off my face.
Maybe it's because you were sitting on them on Saturday.
It was when I got them. They've been that way since
okay.
I got them. I just need them to be fixed.
Well, Nancy's here, so is Karen.
Hi, Nancy.
Carrie is still coffee and caffeine free. Cindy's here. Neely, who is thinking
Hello.
of going dairy free for the month of September, I think it is.
That sounds like a
is
good
here
idea.
also.
Do
Yeah.
it.
Jen says, I made a sale. I was so happy. This is actually kind of funny. So normally when we go to conferences, one of the things that's included, we have a bunch of iPads that we use for like cash registers or
Yes.
point of sale things.
Yes.
And there's supposed to be a bag of money that has change in it. I apparently did not give that to Holly and Steve.
Wow, that's
So Steve had some cash
He's
with
like,
him.
let me just get that out of my
And
personal
so
stash.
he was started off just with the change that he had
Wow.
and ended up with a couple $100 in change.
Gosh. Poor guy.
And so after he told me that, I'm
Sorry.
like, of course I had to come up here and make sure that we had it still. And yeah, it's sitting in my drawer.
Yeah, well.
Anyway, Reese says hello everyone, drinking my coffee with daily minerals and stevia and perfect keto
Nice.
raspberry creamer.
Nice.
Let's see. Bob says, felt like fall yesterday in
Oh,
Chicago.
really?
So I had pumpkin spice caramel waffles
I
for
think
breakfast.
that's wise.
Tracy says hello from Texas. It's another hot day, but we're not supposed to hit 100 degrees.
Nice.
Wow.
I forgot to take the sausage out of the freezer. Dang it.
Okay. Miriam wanted sausage out of the freezer.
No one's home.
No, all of our kids are at school. But Kate will be going home earlier than you.
No, I'm going to go there at 11 and not cook sausage.
Okay.
Lame.
You could always stop by Walmart and just buy more
I
sausage.
know I should, huh? I wouldn't have a
We'll
problem
save
eating
the frozen sausage for later.
for another day.
Fiddly dee, tomorrow is another day. Neely says
Wow.
not excited about going dairy free, but I feel like I've got to do it every once in a while
I
to
think
clean
you're right.
things
I think
up.
it's helpful to just kind of reset. Sometimes it's nice to do a little fast for a while. Sometimes it's nice to do dairy-free for a while, carnivore for a while. You just got to kind of reset.
Nancy says, good luck, Neely. I'm not strong enough for that. And Myra says, it's a Keto Chow chai latte with extra
Ooh,
cinnamon
That sounds
morning.
amazing.
That'd be a good way to do it. And Carrie says it's only 98 in where he's at in Texas.
Well, that's good.
Nice.
It's like 98 here. Not right now, though. The
Yeah.
low is 71, the high is 91.
It's 78 right now.
Yeah, it's pretty nice outside.
Yeah. We went over to your brother's house
Yeah.
yesterday for dinner. It was outside and it was very pleasant, except for the flies.
Yeah, except there were
Flies
flies.
there were so many flies. It was
We didn't
weird.
want to have the flies come, but they did anyway. They think they can do whatever they want.
Yeah, it's true. Cindy is here.
Hi, Cindy.
Keto Simple says, I come in and hear more sausage. Yes, right? John
Yes.
G says, no sausage in the video, will be fine.
No,
Again, you can
no.
just buy some at Walmart on your way
I
home.
want to eat it.
So you guys are filming this morning?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Carrie's been dairy-free for a long time. And Keto Simple is editing his footage that he shot at Low Carb for Better Health in Tennessee. And Neely is very thankful for Keto Chow Core. Speaking of
that
dairy-free.
can be dairy-free.
Yes. Lynn says, yeah, sausage is so delicious. Add it to eggs. I could eat it every day. Now, you could just take some of that sausage and stick it in the smoker.
But I can't eat it right now.
Okay.
For
yeah,
breakfast.
it takes like an hour or so in the smoker.
Plus, I'd have to be home to take it out.
That is true.
But I would like
Depending on how long
to
it takes
eat
you
that.
guys to film, you could put one in.
That's a good idea.
I'm just saying.
Just eat it for second breakfast.
Yep. Using the Jimmy Dean sausage.
What temperature did you put it on?
Like probably 325 or something
For an
like
hour?
that. Probably. The thing is, okay, when you use a smoker, you're never smoking it for time. You're smoking it for temperature.
Yes.
So,
But I don't know the temperature, so tell me the time.
well, no, it's that's just a guesstimate. You have to stick one of the temperature probes into
I
it
don't want to use my brain.
and keep it going until it's, I'd say, probably 160 degrees.
So you just text me when it's ready, and I'll take it out.
I guess so. You'll have to tell me.
Because his phone connects to the smoker.
Yeah.
Mine doesn't. So I have to walk outside.
You could sign in. All of my passwords are in 1Password.
I know.
So Miriam and I
We're married.
We are married, and she has access to every account and every password that I have.
That's right, even if I don't know exists.
Yep.
Also, you have access to my accounts.
Yeah, which is really convenient,
Yeah.
frankly.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you totally could sign in.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But then would it kick you out?
no, it'll allow me to be connected as well.
Oh.
I think I need to change the bit
What's it
rate.
called? What's the thing called?
Rec Tech.
Rectech. That doesn't mean
REC.
I know how to use it.
That is true. You probably don't know how to use it off the top of your head.
I would have
Top
to
of my
learn
head.
something new today.
All right, so we're getting more drop frames. Let's see if dropping the bit rate helps out.
Wah, wah.
Anyway, let's see. Lynn says sausage is so delicious. Add it to eggs. I could eat it.
That's what I wanted to do.
every
I
day.
want to have eggs and sausage. That's all I want to eat. Eggs and sausage.
Mandy
And
says, I
Ninja
missed the
Creamy
2KK
Keto Chow.
broadcast, but I'm here.
Oh,
I got you too. Also going dairy-free. Wow.
nice.
Okay, I
Good
need
job,
to lower the bit rate.
Andy.
Oh, wait, it just went yellow. Okay, maybe we're
Whatever
good
that
now.
means.
It's the little thing down here.
Yeah.
It shows what the connection is. When it goes yellow, that means that we're
coming back.
losing our buffer. When it goes green, it means it, and
Good
when
to
it goes
go.
orange like that, that means that things are bad. So I'm going to drop the bit rate even lower
Whatever
down to
that
3,500.
Okay.
Okay,
Somebody's probably just using the computer at Keto Chow.
probably is.
Probably.
Let's see. Platte River Keto says, good morning, friends.
Good
Welcome.
morning.
Mike says it's supposed to be 109. I'm so ready for fall.
I'm not coming to your house.
I really
there.
like fall. Fall is actually my favorite time of year because spring is usually too wet and too cold.
Also, spring makes me sneeze.
That is true.
Actually, fall makes me sneeze also.
Hmm.
I think I'm allergic to
I feel like I need to sneeze.
leaves.
Wow.
On demand.
Okay, Andy says, my cardiologist advised less butter, more olive oil, Mediterranean style
no,
keto.
no.
I'm open because I do eat tons of butter.
I still think butter's the best.
Of all of the things I've seen, I have not seen
I'm sure
any
you could do
convincing
olive oil,
evidence.
but I think
that-
butter's still better.
In fact, Miriam and I did an experiment where we did Keto Chow with either butter or extra virgin olive oil, which is terrible tasting.
At least to us.
And metabolically, there wasn't a huge difference between the two.
Mm-hmm.
So, and extra virgin olive oil was not delicious. Reese says, I'm going to miss my Keto Chow next month. Most of my large bag of core will be gone.
Oh, that's sad.
Keto Simple says Chandra doesn't know her own passwords. Not for trying, though. I try to keep her up to date.
You got to do a password protection software. It's
Yeah.
the best thing ever.
Dustin says 1Password versus LastPass Go. So here's a fun fact.
They're both great.
Yeah, they are. If you, let's see, Keto Chow blog.
We have a whole blog about it. We're really
password.
obsessed about it. Because it's really easy to get your stuff stolen now online.
Yep.
Compared to even just 5 years ago. So we are very much in support of keeping things locked down.
I think this is the, let's see.
Too many words.
You keep on coming down, use a password manager program. So what I used to use was KeePass,
I also used to use KeePass.
which is free.
Which was great.
Yeah.
It was a good, like, Whole30 to keto.
Yeah, it was a good stepping stone.
It was a good stepping stone for us to figure out that it was necessary and then step to something better.
Now, and we would use it synced between Dropbox and the different computers and our phones. It worked really well.
Yes.
But now we're using 1Password, not an affiliate link,
Which
by the way.
costs money.
It does. It's $3 a month for one person or $5 a month for a family of 5.
That's
But
so cheap.
It's $1 more for each additional user.
Yeah, so we have all our kids on it, and then they can share stuff with us, and we can share stuff with them. But then we also can be on it and not share stuff with each other. So it's really cool.
Now, LastPass, hey, it's fine.
Also cool.
1Password hasn't had any data breaches. LastPass has had multiple ones.
Knock on wood.
Yeah. Now, it works both of them work really well. So does NordPass, for that matter. We went with 1Password because of the family plan situation.
And our kids all have it on their phones, and they know how to use it too. So it gives us a lot of comfort knowing that the kids are probably not going to get hacked as easily.
Bitwarden's got a good one. Dropbox even has their own one.
Another thing that I really like about the one that we're using is it can keep documents. So like we could put our birth certificates and social security cards and stuff on there. Everything's secure. So then if we're somewhere else and we happen to need it and we don't have it, we can have access to it. So that's a cool feature too.
Yep. Okay, I just put the link to that page into there. Here's my personal setup.
Yes.
So the whole family has the 1Password.
Yes.
Everyone uses an XKD style long password.
Not XKCD. That's wrong.
No, it's XKCD because
Oh.
here you have the
You mean
infamous.
the suggested by XKCD.
Yeah. So
That's not what it's actually called.
through 20 years of effort, we've successfully trained everyone to use passwords that are hard for humans to remember but easy for computers to guess.
Right.
So here you have Troubadour 3, 28 bits of entropy. It's very easy for a computer to guess. 3 days at 1,000 guesses a second, which is very low, by the way.
That's awesome.
It would actually take a couple of seconds. But if you take 4 random common words, string them together, that's 44 bits of entropy. It would take 550 years at 1,000 guesses.
Right.
And hey, guess what? It's hard to guess and it's easy to remember.
Which is funny because you would think it would be the opposite.
Yep. And and yes, I'm ignoring the discussion about rainbow tables. So what I recommend to people is they use this guy, which is, you hit this thing.
And it gives you random numbers, or random.
4 random words.
Or you can make them up yourself.
Or you can make them up yourself. The nice thing about it random this way.
Husband, watch, hair, keto.
Now, but the problem is that has something to do with you. And you want truly random words that are easy to remember.
Water.
But difficult to guess. And then maybe throw some numbers in there. Who knows?
Who knows?
Anyway, that's the best way for setting up because you need 1Password to get into.
Right.
Anyway, so everybody has a long password for their 1Password and for their Google accounts. Mostly because in order to get to everything else, you have to log into the Google account.
And it is a little bit tedious when you start getting it set up because you have to use that password over and over and over again. And then you also have to set it up on your phone, and you want to set it up on your computer, any other devices like a tablet or something like that. So it takes a minute to get it set up. But once you start using it, the benefits are so great.
Yep. And the reason for that is it's a lot easier to type out something like spoken electric give situation than 4Y3DXIE question mark. This is the sort of password that 1Password, KeePass,
Yeah, it gives you.
LastPass, they give you these.
But then it's just saved in the database, and so you just click over and you're like, copy, paste. Or you click on it and then type in your four-word password, and then it just populates in there for you because it's like, oh yeah, are you on Kohl's? Okay, I know you have a Kohl's password. I'll just put that in there for you.
Then I also have a physical key, a UB key for two-factor authentication, and if accounts support two-factor authentication, 1Password automatically picks that up and says,
yes,
hey, this supports two-factor authentication. You want to use that? You
Yes,
say
I
yes,
do.
and it just sets it up, and it's great. And
even though it makes you one more step.
yep. So anyway,
Did you want to talk about that
did
today?
you want to talk about password
Because
security?
we're talking
It's
about it.
important, though. It is super important. It's one of those lifestyle things that everybody needs to know about. And the worst thing you can do is use the same password on multiple sites, which I used to do.
Also me, until it got taken,
We actually had our
We had our
Sam's
stuff.
Club cash account drained.
stolen.
It was great. Anyway,
So my fault probably.
let's see. So Keto Simple uses LastPass and Google Passwords both.
Yay!
Nancy says, I have all passwords and such, but yeah, I don't know what to do once I get in. Lynette loves the LastPass. There you go. Cindy loves fall in New England.
I want to go see the fall.
Andy
in
says
New
it's
England.
78 in Ohio. My walk this morning was really nice and breezy.
Oh, that's lovely.
And Debbie uses KeePass too, which again, fantastic.
So great.
And it's free.
It's
You
so
just
great.
you just have to manage the moving of the
Back
data,
and forth, the copy
and
and
it
paste.
doesn't support two-factor authentication built into
Right.
itself.
Which is another step.
And he says, I won't do olive oil in my keto chow, but I can and do avocado.
Yes, and we have done that too.
Yep.
So that's good.
Dustin says, always thinking about switching. Nice. Mike says, I use LastPass. It works pretty well, but it's a little glitchy on some websites.
Oh, okay.
All of them kind of are, especially websites that use abnormal naming schemes for
Okay.
their password entry things.
Right.
Most will say like inside of the code, it'll say username for the username field and password or something like that. And then LastPass, KeePass, 1Password, they're able to detect those and automatically suggest them. So Trace says, I'll be having anterior and posterior cervical surgery. Wow, at the end of September.
Gosh.
But I'm thankful to have Keto Chow to rely on for my meals. So does that mean they're going in through your mouth or through your neck? Because, wow, that's...
We will keep you in our thoughts and prayers.
Carrie says, I've had lots of breaches for passwords. Yes, I have, actually.
Yes.
My original, the fun thing was, one of my old username and passwords that I would always use back in the late 90s was included on one of those data breaches. And so I started getting emails to my oldest email address saying, we have hacked your account and your password was blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, you didn't hack my account. You just got this data breach. They're like, we have records of you doing all these bad things on the internet. I'm like, I don't do those things on the internet. We're going to tell your family about it unless you give us Bitcoin. No, you're not. And I would get one of those like
scams.
every couple days. And they would have my email address and my password right
How
there. My
annoying.
old password.
Yeah.
Anyway, terrible.
Terminal.
Carrie says, I have a YubiKey. There you go. That
you
helps
go.
with passwords and with my Google account to log in. One of the problems with my YubiKey is it only has the plug to plug it in to a computer. It doesn't support NFC.
Okay.
So, and you can't plug it into a phone anyway.
Oh.
So it's only for
Only for
computers.
computers.
So every time I go to like log on to Facebook with my
on your phone.
on my phone, it's like, how would you like to do your two-factor authentication? I'm like, I have to use the code because I can't use my YubiKey.
And then do you get it texted to you, or do you put
No, I have to put it in.
You put it in.
Anyway, this guy right
Goes
here
through
is the Titan security key.
Okay. Which one?
It's both of these, actually. You can get
Ooh,
one,
Titan security
and
keys.
they have NFC. You can tap them to the back of your phone,
Oh, that's
and it works
cool.
great. They have been out of stock
Oh,
for like a year and a half.
that's dumb. They're not very helpful if you can't get them.
Yep. Carrie says, soon there will be passwordless passwords. Yes. It just went out of my head what those are called.
Fingerprints?
No. Dang it. I had it in my head. Carrie probably remembers what it is.
Nice haircut.
Thanks. Anyway, Yeah, they're. Dang it, that's going to bug me until I remember what it's called.
You'll figure it out.
Like Carrie will probably say it. Anyway, it puts a password code into your devices, so you don't have to use passwords anymore.
Yeah.
Most devices like Google phones, Apple phones, Windows, Mac support them, but that you can't move them in between devices.
Oh, that's
But
hard.
1Password is almost ready with having them sync across devices. The whole point of them is that you can't sync them across devices.
Right.
But once you authenticate with them,
Yes.
they just work. Anyway,
That would make sense because otherwise you would be able to move it to somebody else's device and then it would be
yeah,
stolen.
you don't want it
and
to
blah,
be
blah,
stolen.
blah.
Lisa,
see that.
remember Lisa?
Lisa, hi.
Made it to Florida.
Glad
Awesome.
you're safe.
Ross says, so pertinent for this day and age. It is, actually.
It is, yeah.
Okay, so Tracy says they're going through my neck, front and back, removing a disc, replacing it with spacers, and then rods through the back for support.
Ooh,
Wow.
I hope you are okay.
And John says,
My voice is my passport.
voice is my passport. Verify.
Verify me.
Me? It's from the movie Sneakers with Robert Redford.
That's a oldie.
That's a really good old movie. Anyway, no more secrets. C-Tech Astronomy. Kelly says, I'm getting those spam emails right now. Delete, yes.
Deleted.
Dennis says, regarding olive oils, too bad for that high polyphenol extra virgin olive oil I shared with you. Was absolutely not fresh. Dr. Stephen Gundry makes it robust and expensive. Had I believed it was, I had believed it was for soup. Wow.
Hey,
Yep.
B-Dog.
And it's, dang it, password keys. Password keys is what it's called.
Password keys. That's our thing to
Yeah,
remember.
it's like the new form of authentication is password keys. It's the new hotness. Yeah, basically you authenticate once, you've got it, you're able to authenticate your other logins using a device. And it just pops up and it's like, hey,
So that'll be
Were
the
you
next
logging in?
step for us.
it will be the
someday.
next step. But it'll be integrated into 1Password. B-Dog is here, and Mike says biometrics. It works with biometrics to unlock the pass key and then allow you to get in. Janice says, hello again, Chris. Will y'all be getting the new Keto Chow vanilla back? If you're talking about the strawberry cream and the vanilla cream, we currently don't have any announcements to make about vanilla cream or strawberry cream. Yeah, we don't have any announcements to make, unfortunately. So Carrie says Sneakers is a classic. It is. My favorite part of Sneakers, well, a couple parts. One, Robert Redford thinks he's going through a cocktail party when he's in the back of the car. Turns out he's going by a lake with geese. And the guy who's
remember that
blind
part.
is like, yeah, you consider your membership of the Blind Persons a Club revoked because he didn't recognize that geese sound like a cocktail party.
That's funny.
And then
Well, cocktail parties sometimes are crazy.
Christian Slater's in the movie, and at the end,
He was so cute.
they're giving the NSA this encryption key that breaks all cryptography, but they're listing off their demands. So one guy was like, I don't ever want to pay taxes, ever.
That's a good one.
And Christian Slater, there's a lady who's part of the raid party. He's like, I want her phone number. And she's like, you can have anything in the world and you want my phone number? He's like, yes. So she gives it to him.
That's funny.
It's pretty funny.
Also, I don't want to pay taxes.
Yeah. Keto and the Miss is here, considering doing a few weeks of Keto Chow 2 times daily. Sounds like a good idea.
Do it.
Carrie says Windows Hello can let you log in as well. Yes, Passkeys does work with Windows Hello, which Windows Hello, for those of you who don't know, it's a kind of a superset of stuff on top of Windows logging in. It's the same, I think the same thing is there for...
Like the eye.
Yeah,
thing
so
and stuff.
you can log in with a fingerprint or with facial recognition. That's all part of the Windows Hello thing.
Yeah.
Mac has a similar thing.
It's called Mac Hello. Just kidding, I don't know.
Dennis says, it worked. I hope to jog your memory, Chris. Kathy says, thanks for Keto Chow. I've been having a Keto Chow creamy for almost all my
Nice.
dinners because in this heat, Texas heat, makes me nauseated. Chocolate mint last night and butter was so good. I've been not having creamies. I've been having them as shakes because I had to mix up, this is natural strawberry. I had to mix up a bunch of test batches. When a new batch comes in, we have to test them. And so I had like 12 Keto Chows in the fridge mixed up with heavy cream that need to get eaten within the 6 days after them being mixed up. So I was actually going to make some steaks in the sous vide today for lunch here at work. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I need to work my way through all those Keto Chows. So that's what I'm doing.
I put 3 of them in the Ninja Creamy for me.
Nice. Nancy says, come on, anything Redford. There you go.
Yeah, right?
Oh, it was River Phoenix? Was it really? Oh.
Oopsie.
I thought it was Christian Slater.
I thought Christian Slater was in there too. Well, he's in something.
Turns out I'm going to have to watch that movie again. That was
Lame.
great. And the blind guy got to drive a van, and he was being guided by the one guy who was at the top of the. He's like, I need you to drive the van over here, and so he worked his way in there. He's like, okay, put it in drive. How do I do that? and he's like going over these planters. This is really funny. Keto Simple says, I've got a bunch of Keto Chow to make today. I'm looking forward to them. I've not had any for a while. Mike says, when you struggle to say we don't have any announcements, I assume an announcement is imminent. I don't know about imminent.
Someday.
But it will be coming at some point. I think you said once, no announcement in the morning, then launched a new flavor the same day.
That never happens.
Here's the thing. We don't announce stuff until it's ready.
In our hot hands.
And sometimes that's a matter of a couple hours. Sometimes it's a couple of days.
Or
sometimes
weeks.
it's weeks or
months.
Even months. We typically have stuff in the works for months.
Do you know why? Because Chris blabbed to everybody that we were going to have a chicken soup, and then every day everybody asked for chicken soup over and over and over and over for
and the
6
orange cream
months
and
while
the chocolate
we're waiting
mint,
for it to come.
and the
that
raspberry
was lame.
cheesecake.
So don't do that.
Yeah, all the version 2.1 flavors. BDX says, love the creamy, but sometimes you need to shake. It is so easy to drink the shake. That's yeah. He just says the Keto Chow guy needs to stop drinking those Keto Chow drinks. He needs to start eating clean. Okay, well, guess what? I am going to ban you. Goodbye.
We are eating clean.
Yep. Here's the thing. I am eating clean. The problem is snacking. Has nothing to do with eating Keto Chow. And to that point, you may be aware that I did a 100 days of eating just Keto Chow. What happened when I did just that? The results speak for themselves. It's the other stuff that is my problem.
Which I think is something that we need to maybe talk about more is the problem we have, the relationship we have with food, the things that we do with food to soothe ourselves and other things like that. So we just need to try to deal with those issues because no matter if you use a shake or not, if you still have those issues, you're not going to be able to do what you want to do.
Well, and here's the thing. I made Keto Chow. I made Keto Chow specifically for my own use because I need it. So if I'm already finished and no longer a work in progress, then I don't need it anymore. But I absolutely need it. It keeps me going really well. I would be 300 and something pounds if not for keto and not for Keto Chow. So nice gatekeeping, and that's a great point of view you got there, Dee Dee. True Health says we'll be in Utah in September. Do you recommend Rodizio in Salt Lake City or a different steakhouse?
Yes.
We have several Brazilian steakhouses here in the Salt Lake area. You've got Rodizio. You've got Brasa Grill, which is a bit cheaper, quite a bit cheaper.
It's expensive, but is there one in Salt Lake proper?
Well, yeah, Tucanos and Rodizio are in Salt Lake proper.
Yes, but I meant Brasa.
No, the closest Brasa is in Murray.
There's one in Murray, and then there's one in Lehigh, so those are closer to us.
Yeah.
But Salt Lake, I'd go to Rodizio. Tucanos is good also.
It's a bit more expensive.
They're pretty much the same, honestly.
Both of them do bring around the pineapple, and you just get to scoff at it.
I know that Tucanos had like the mahi-mahi one time, and I hadn't seen that at Rodizio.
Yep.
But I haven't had that in a long time. I pretty much only go for picanha nowadays. I'm like, oh, you're not bringing picanha? I don't want it.
Yeah. I'd also like to, one more thing, clean eating. Let's talk about the term clean eating. That's a bit of gatekeeping and a bit of my way of eating and my way of thinking is superior to yours, and you should think that I'm cool. When people use phrases like clean eating or dirty keto or things like that, that's absolutely gatekeeping.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely My way of doing it is better than yours, and I don't think it's a healthy way of talking about things.
Yeah.
Because, okay, clean keto, dirty keto. A ketogenic diet is any diet that supports the production of ketones in a human being. It doesn't matter if you're eating hot dogs, hamburgers, and mustard out of a frying pan that you found at a thrift store using propane canisters that you got from the food pantry. That is a valid ketogenic diet. Okay, you might want some eggs and stuff like that too.
I want some eggs.
But if you are having success on a ketogenic diet and that diet happens to include things like low carb tortillas, which I personally can't do. I can't do low carb tortillas.
But
Doesn't
our
work
kids
for me.
do them, and they don't even eat the low carb tortillas. They
Yep.
eat the whole wheat ones because they actually have better ingredients than the low carb tortillas.
Yep. But yeah, and for that matter, on the keto subreddit, go ahead and try to use the term dirty keto or clean keto. There's actually an autoresponder
Mad.
that will chew you out for using that terminology because, again, it's gatekeeping and it's telling people that their choices are inferior. So,
But I think I think it's still good to say, like, I try to eat clean.
yeah.
You know, but that doesn't necessarily mean the same thing to everybody, I think is your point.
For instance, you've got Indigo Neely, who is going to be doing dairy-free. Is dairy dirty? Is dairy not a keto?
But sometimes
way of
people
eating?
feel like because it doesn't work for them, then it is dirty. And so if it works for other people, then they shouldn't do it.
Let's talk
is
about
hard.
nightshades.
Yeah. My dad can't do tomatoes. He gets a sad, sad stomach.
Yep.
So I grew up not eating a ton of tomatoes. And my favorite food is lasagna.
If you can't do nightshades, jalapeno poppers are not part of a
Not
ketogenic
happening.
diet for
Yeah.
you.
Yep.
Neither is eggplant or tomatoes of any kind.
Peppers.
If you are just fine with them, well, guess what? It might include it. There are people who they can't do anything except for beef, butter, bacon, and eggs.
Yep.
And they find that if they start to include other stuff that's just fine for other people, that it causes them issues. Some people are just fine with gluten. Like, it's a protein in wheat. It has nothing to do with carbohydrates. Gluten is zero carb, technically.
By itself.
But it usually comes along with other stuff that makes it potentially problematic. But for that matter, what about powdered MCT oil? Is that clean keto? It depends on what it's powdered on. If it's powdered on maltodextrin,
Yep.
most people would it probably wouldn't be good for them. What about maltitol? What about allulose? What about erythritol? Or aspartame in a Diet Coke? Different people have different things that work for them. And it is improper of someone to tell someone else that they are doing it wrong, especially when that person is hiding behind the anonymity of a random YouTube username. So shame on you, DD.
You're in
Okay. Kathy says I put the sausage in the smoker for about 4 hours at 225, but it didn't get a very smoky flavor. Interesting. Yeah, I usually do it
yeah.
a bit higher temperature than that, just because I'm just trying to cook it all the way through. Keto Simple says real hunger versus emotional hunger.
Yeah,
figuring
that's the thing.
that
Trying to
out
figure
is
that
different
out.
for. Well, and the emotional thing is so interesting. Dr. Robert Sywis.
Carb addiction doc.
We were talking with him, and he said flat out that he cannot do anything resembling keto ice cream.
Because he's too attached to it,
Doesn't trust himself with it.
right?
And is he a bit chunky? Yes, and that's why he is such an advocate for finding out the emotional connection and breaking that so that you are on good terms with food.
Yeah. Well, and I think the thing is, like, with all of our learning and parenting and schooling, we have not learned how to manage our emotions, emotion regulation, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Right? Some people, I'm sure, do better than others, and some people don't have as many problems, period. just plain, period. And that's okay, because guess what? Some people don't gain weight like I do, because we're all different.
And some people don't gain weight and still have blood sugar of 300 or 400.
Yeah, yeah. So
healthy?
we're all different. We all have to kind of figure out what our thing is. But emotion management, everybody's afraid to talk about it. It hurts their feelings to talk about it. Mm-hmm. It's hard because it hurts, because we don't ever want to admit that we have problems.
Yep.
But we do.
B-Dog says, yep, September, I'm beef butter, bacon, and eggs, and Keto Chow. Kathy says, I also smoke pork chops and brats. There you go.
Good.
Melody made up Keto Chow shakes in preparation for Hurricane Idalia. Wow, I haven't heard about that one yet. I did see a graph or a map that was showing all of the tropical storms that are on their way to Florida. We should probably check and make sure, because Miriam and I are actually going to be going to Florida in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
To go scuba diving.
Doo-ba-doo-ba-doo.
Mike mixed up 24 shakes last night.
Wow.
Myra says, yesterday I prevented the snack attack by enjoying a lighter keto chow with only 1 tablespoon of butter as a snack.
There you go.
Risa says, oh, yeah, Shop app just sends you a code and you plug it in. They know it's you. Yep, that's how they do it. Blaze says, thank you for making Keto Chow and then sharing it for the rest of us.
Thank you.
Trace says, thanks for creating Keto Chow. It's been helpful to me and fills the gaps in my busy schedule.
Yes.
Penny says, I meant to say I can make my Keto Chow now to take to work with me since I got in so early to my new job. I'm just too excited.
Good job.
Well, I also appreciates Keto Chow, and I'm very thankful that Chris created it. It's been a very integral part of my 140-pound weight loss journey.
That's a lot.
Wow. Karen says, I just stopped drinking green tea and stopped veggies a few weeks prior. Oh, the oxalate dump.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Yep. Radical Geek says, yeah, final works for you. Thank you, Chris. B-Dog says, Keto Chow is clean. It depends on what your definition of clean is.
Yep.
If you can't do dairy,
then it's not clean.
Well, it depends on the Keto Chow. If we're talking about Keto Chow Core, that's dairy-free, sucralose-free, sweetener-free if you opt for that. For some people, they can't even do any sweeteners whatsoever of any kind. And for them, that's clean keto.
Yep.
Mike says, if not for keto, I would still be 345 pounds. 187 now. Keto Chow did help me bust into the hundreds. Wonderland. Radical Geek says, I also 100% support banning someone saying something so incredibly rude. Neely says, dairy isn't bad. And it all just depends on what it does for you. And if it's causing you problems, maybe stop for a while.
Or if you have an addiction to dairy, then that might be something you need to address, whether it's having it not at all or just once a day, right?
Yep. Dennis said over the weekend made 2 of Serious Keto's sausage fatties.
Oh,
They were well received at the church social.
nice.
Les says, I think dairy is great. It's what helped me be able to stick to this way of eating. Penny says, eating clean is your own interpretation. What might be good for me may not be good for somebody else, and that's okay. Yep. Carrie says, I can't plant eggs, then since some of those things mess me up. Well, funny thing, yeah, eggplants. One of our sons, he doesn't actually do eggs very well. It
he
gives
used
him
to
a
have
stomach
eggs every day, but now he gets a stomach ache. So
Roxanne doesn't do nightshades, and Mike doesn't do nightshades or day shades.
yeah.
What about a faceplant? Okay, Scott says, hi Scott, can't thank you enough for creating Keto Chow. I've lost 250 pounds and still drink my shake every day. Went from 400 to 150 in about 2 years.
Scott, you're amazing.
We'll try to attach before and after pictures. You two will forever be in my debt. I will be in your debt, whatever, for allowing me to finally succeed in my weight loss journey. We know what you meant. For anyone who is tuning in and thinking about ordering, run, don't walk, in order you will not regret it. I'm one of their biggest fans and will always have my Keto Chow. Well, that's awesome.
Yay, Scott, thank you for sharing that.
Brenda's looking forward to seeing us in Kentucky. Les says everyone needs to do what's best for them. That's what's so great about keto. Shannon says, great point. Everyone is different and should be able to make their own choices. Vaughn says, what about those people who are allergic to ragweed and can't have products with stevia and prefer sucralose?
Yeah, then that is a person that has to have that thing. Right?
For instance, that's one of the reasons why we use sucralose. Different people do very well with other different things.
Yeah, my son looked down at my leg in church yesterday and he said, I thought you were allergic to the plastic Band-Aids. I said, I am, but I grabbed the wrong one. So I put it on. So now I have a happy little rash in the shape of a Band-Aid around my little cut that I just wanted to heal.
Neely made a really good point. Said a lot of people think that conventional meat isn't clean. There will never be a diet clean
Right.
enough.
And the other thing is, like, when you're tracking, you can never track perfectly. Everything is not perfect. You put in a ribeye, you don't know exactly how much fat is in that thing. You just don't know. So you can never track perfectly. You can never eat perfectly. You can only eat good enough. Joe's been saying a lot, 90% is good enough. And I'm like,
Don't
know
let
what?
perfect be
You're
the
right.
eminent of good.
Right.
Yeah. Radical Geese says, oh, the shame. I introduced people to my favorite vegetable on my YouTube last night. I wasn't even sorry. It's in season right now. And then
What is it?
Celtus? I'm not sure what that is.
I guess we'll have to go watch her video.
Let's see. Karen says, I'm experimenting all the time with what works for me and what doesn't.
Yes. And I think it changes from time to time because when I started keto, I did a lot more like nuts and stuff. And now I don't feel like I need them or they just don't do for me what they were doing before. Because I did a lot of treats and now like treats will be my downfall. So things change and our bodies change. Weird.
Yeah. Okay, Penny says, I recently learned I can tolerate gluten, but I'm allergic to wheat. It actually messes with my breathing.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I am allergic to cilantro.
Yes.
It makes me cough and it restricts my breathing, and I love to eat it anyway.
Weird.
Mike has never heard of Celtus,
haven't
but
either.
Radical Geek says you
It's
find it
secret
in the
lettuce.
international grocery. It's so
Oh.
good. So Sharon's making a cup of Keto Chow for the freezer for the possible hurricane. Brenda
a good
loves core.
idea.
Thanks for the big bag. And Radical Geek also says I do like the core. Like the core Keto Chow. It tastes so good. Chocolatey delicious. Mike says I'm planning to drink 2 shakes and 1 pint of Keto Chow ice cream per day starting tonight, probably for 5 days. Oh, and Sharon says Adalia is supposed to make landfall on Wednesday.
Yikes.
Jen says, wait, stevia is ragweed? I think it's related to ragweed in like the tomatoes and jalapenos and them are all nightshades.
Yes, which made me think of Band-Aids because I'm allergic to this adhesive on Band-Aids and Audrey's allergic to latex, which is related to kiwi, which I ate one time and my throat closed up. So I don't eat that anymore.
Okay.
But that was in college.
Bob says clean keto is as nebulous a term as I eat healthy.
Right.
And Jen says I'm super allergic to ragweed. Wow. Light is dawning on me now why stevia upsets my stomach.
There you go.
Wow.
Learn something new every day.
And Keto Simple says you got to work on making you feel better. Find out what works for you.
Yep.
Wow, wow, wow. And says I was today years old when I learned the connection between ragweed and stevia.
Yep.
Well, no, stevia is divisive. It's one of those things that some people do really well. Oh, you kept those shoes after all.
Yep.
Some people do stevia really well, and some people don't. And some people just don't like the flavor, and some people like it genuinely is no good for them.
Yep. And sucralose the same.
Sucralose, the same thing.
Speaking of stevia, do you want to see my new shoes? They're so cute.
Did you put a penny in there though?
No?
Anyway, Karen says my dad that put his dad on Keto Chow to add weight and give him something nutritious has gained 10 pounds. This is after major surgery.
That's good.
That's fantastic.
That's good.
Especially when you're talking to about someone who needs to get to a good weight. And that brings up an important thing. A lot of
Right.
times people will ask, hey, is keto, not just Keto Chow, but keto
Yes.
only for losing weight? No. Keto, or as Dr. Barry prefers to call it, a proper human diet
Right.
will support healthy weight, provided you're doing it right, which I eat too many treats. We've already discussed that. And if someone needs to gain weight, they will not lose muscle on a ketogenic diet. They will gain muscle and possibly lose fat, which is an important
It's magical.
thing. It's not so much that it's a weight loss, but it's a fat loss and a muscle gaining way of eating. And so especially when you're talking about older people who are at risk of sarcopenia
Yes.
or loss of muscle mass, using a good amount of protein, using a proper human diet, eating good healthy fats, there we go, good healthy, what's your definition of that? Probably not with seed oils, is just a good way of doing it.
Well, and even just earlier in this conversation, we were talking about olive oil versus butter.
Yeah.
I'll prefer butter no matter what because I like the taste better. I like how I feel on it. But does that mean the olive oil is bad?
No.
No.
Keto Simple says in some products it's fine, in some it's just too bitter. Okay,
There's a
Now
lot
we're
of
going to-
differences with this with stevia?
Now we're going to get into
Manufacturing.
yes. So with stevia, you've got the actual natural leaf. If you were to take the leaf and eat it, there's a bunch of different ribosides. There's a bunch of different chemical compounds that make up the sweet part. If you just take regular stevia and you extract those out, you have all of those. You have I'm going to call them Reb A, Reb M, Reb B, Reb C. I think there's an O as well. Anyway, some people find the different chemical compounds bitter. Some people don't even notice it. But you can, if you can isolate out the Reb A or the Reb M, those tend to have the cleanest sweetness without the bitterness or the aftertaste. But you have to extract those out. So a couple of years ago, a couple of companies started taking the chain of RNA, DNA, that's in stevia that produces those specific compounds, and then they would put it into yeast. And then they would take a giant vat of glucose, of sugar, have the yeast process through that, and one of the things it would do is it would kick out those chemical compounds, Reb A, Reb M. There's a company called Purecane that you may have heard of. They're actually shutting down. Did you know that?
Oh.
Yeah,
I think I did hear that.
Anyway, their whole process is they take cane sugar, which it doesn't actually matter if it's cane sugar. It doesn't matter if it's corn syrup. You just need a carbohydrate that the yeast can eat.
That's a sugar.
Anyway, you take this stuff, you run it through the yeast, and the yeast, it actually kicks out ethanol, and it kicks out Reb A, is what's in Purecane.
So then you put the rest into the gas tank?
You probably could. But this Reb A, because it's being produced by a single-celled organism in isolation, it's extremely pure.
Right.
And it's chemically exactly the same. It's along the same lines of the argument about whether or not oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's citric acid.
Vitamin C.
Oh.
Ascorbic acid. Whether ascorbic acid and vitamin C are the same thing, which they are, but we already had that discussion. But if you take a single cell organism and you process a bunch of glucose and it kicks out, one of the byproducts is pure vitamin C.
Right.
It's the same thing as having a single-celled organism that processes glucose and other stuff and kicks out pure Reb A or Reb M. But it's really cool stuff. And anyway, when you produce stevia that way, or you produce the chemicals that give stevia their sweetness, it usually produces a very clean taste that doesn't have the bitterness, doesn't have the aftertaste, and even people who don't like stevia, and maybe even some people who are actually allergic to stevia will tolerate that particular sweetener better. My understanding is also that you are able to claim those sweeteners as stevia on an ingredient label. Anyway. Let's see, Mike says, I like stevia. It's super concentrated like sucralose, so you're only needing a tiny amount from the plant. Some must be allergic, though. I can see it, being a problem. True Health says, love the large bags of core. We'll need to order another in a couple weeks. Looking forward to more maple waffle this fall. Brenda says, we went to Brown Hotel Thursday night, had a Kai Hot Brown. I'm not sure what that is.
Okay.
Hubby ate the MPs and Derby pie. Been sick for 3 days. I warned him.
Oh, it's sad. I'm
So
sorry.
that actually brings up probably what we should end on. Is a lot of times if you've chosen a ketogenic way of eating, that lifestyle, sometimes you will have an event, like you're on vacation, or
it's my birthday.
It's your anniversary, and you always used to have Chinese food for your anniversary, and now you're celebrating
Chinese
it.
food on Sunday.
We could. Anyway.
Keto Chinese.
And so you want to celebrate, and so you're going to eat a meal of that food. Okay, number one recommendation I would give you is, if that's a choice you're going to make, decide that it is a meal. Mm-hmm. And don't do it as an emotional change where you're there and you're going to give into temptation. Decide that that's what you're going to do. Mm-hmm. And decide that you're going to have the meal, and then you're going to be done, and then you're going to act like it never happened, and you're back to your normal way of eating.
That doesn't mean you won't have the consequences. That's the thing.
That doesn't mean you won't suffer the consequences.
A lot of people do like vacation off of keto.
Oh boy.
And I have not, but I have in the past, and sometimes I just feel horrible.
I'd rather enjoy my vacation. I paid a lot to go on it, so.
Yeah.
And going on the cruises, I think maybe you've eaten like a little bite of something as far as you've ever gone.
In the last few years, the first couple of years, I think I did.
But I generally wouldn't recommend like going hog wild when you're on a cruise if you've been eating a ketogenic lifestyle for a long time, because you're gonna be pretty sad if you do that.
And the thing that I notice even the most, like instead of my stomach hurting, is like my joints hurt so bad. The inflammation just hits you real bad. Yeah. But it is so funny because when we were at Lake Powell, we were exercising pretty hard on the boat. We were out there skiing and surfing and all the things, and I was sore anyway. So imagine how much worse it would be if I was that sore in my muscles and my joints were hurting. Like, I just would have been miserable.
So Roz loves the science class, and Radical Geek says I made keto Chinese food last night.
Yes.
Purple of None says, how do you make keto Chinese? You just need to find a bunch of recipes.
Yeah, recipes.
That are
there's a hand-fried rice recipe that we like. There's chicken. What was your favorite? Was the chicken?
Well, I always like the sweet and sour chicken.
Sweet and sour chicken. So we always try to make something like that.
Yeah, but I'm good with like beef and broccoli and stuff. My taste have changed considerably.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I do like a cream cheese wonton, but there's not a recipe for that exists.
That's a good question.
That's a hard one.
Yeah. You mostly just wanted the crab and the cream cheese, let's be honest.
Just make a crab cream cheese scoop.
All right.
Spoon.
Well, we're going to go. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We'll be doing our longer live stream tomorrow night. So that'll be at 9:15 p.m. Eastern, 7:15 p.m. Mountain, or 6:15 p.m. If you're in the Pacific time zone.
Right. And I've been vlogging, so if you check out those vlogs, tell me what you think, what I should do, how I can improve. I would love to hear.
Annalia says, YouTube short vanilla cheesecake. How much cottage cheese did they use? That's a good question.
I think they said it out loud.
Keto Chow.
Because I was going to do that cheesecake this week. And
here's the thing with
the shorts are hard because it's hard to find where the comments are.
Okay.
So, are you sharing?
Yes. Okay, here we go. We started a short, right? Okay. The recipe's in the description. Okay, I'm sharing.
But you can't. How do you find the description?
Okay. On a mobile device, if you tap and hold anywhere in the middle, this pops up.
Oh.
Or you can hit, on mobile, it's up in the top.
Okay.
Down on desktop, it's down here. You go to the description.
But people haven't figured out how to do that yet.
That's correct.
Okay.
Now, on mobile, this is formatted correctly. There's line breaks, but for some reason on desktop, slams it just into one big long thing.
You know.
So 1 container of cottage cheese. So I think that's 8 ounces.
That doesn't
and
really
1 egg.
tell you how much 1 container is, but we can look at the picture again. It looks like a small container.
Yep. So, yeah, there's your daily, how do I find descriptions on YouTube Shorts?
And I just learned something new again.
Okay. Well, Mike says, have a great day. Radical Geek says, love your vlogs. John says, longer. This one turned out to be almost as long as a Tuesday stream.
What happens when you get Chris monologuing?
Anyway, you all have a fantastic day. We'll